Hey. um, so last night I was feeling kind of like my old self again, which happens sometimes because pretty much at any point something can pop up and trigger an old part of yourself or bring up emotions that you thought you had dealt with or conflicts that you thought you had resolved. Um, and I think that's because the brain has a comfort zone that it stays in, and the brain loves problems. I don't like to super heavily relate to that statement just because, like, I don't love problems, um but it's easy to attach to them and to continue telling yourself the same narratives, because your brain feels comfortable that way, even if it's not helping you. So usually what I do when I start to feel like my shadow self pop back up is I look at my video diaries. And I make video diaries. I think it's something I do to document my progress emotionally, and because I want reassurance that I'm growing. Because we're always growing, but sometimes it doesn't really feel like it, and life gets scary. Um, but I like to look at my past reflections and emotional revelations uh, for comfort, basically. Because this has been technically like the best year of my life. I've experienced a lot of hardship, but uh I'm doing pretty much everything that I've always wanted to do. And it's weird because externally I get praise all the time from people and from the internet, and like that's really sweet, and I'm very grateful for it. But sometimes it feels like nothing has changed, and at the end of the day, regardless of these external goals, like, I am just the same person on the inside. And the truth is that no external anything in this world can make you more whole, because you're already whole. You were born whole. But despite all this success and praise, I am still doing the same things that I've always done. I'm making videos, which I've always done. I'm doing art and making music, I've always done. I'm cleaning the kitchen and, folding my clothes, which I've always done. And I spend most of my time at home just chilling, and scrolling on my phone and doing the things I've always done. It's just now that it's working for me in this way that it never has before. And again, extremely grateful, like astronomically grateful in like a billion trillion ways. But because I'm doing the same things every day, and there's all this external change of like how people are viewing me, sometimes I just feel like the same person I was a year ago, and the same person I was 2 years ago. And like I'm experiencing the same issues that she had, and it can feel just like, damn, am I getting anywhere? Was any of the healing I did dead ass? Like, am I faking? But healing isn't linear, and everyone says that. Some days you wake up and you're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna conquer the world and I'm following my dreams and I have everything I could ever want and this is amazing. And then some days you wake up and it's just like, girl, what have we been doing? What have we been doing this whole time? Are we actually growing at all? Are we actually growing at all? But what I have realized is you can go kind of insane facing the same issues over and over again. And usually our life paths, like, we have issues that cosmically we're just meant to confront and solve karmically, like in this lifetime. And I think that's really interesting. But even if, what I realized is coming at the same issues over and over again, you can start to feel a little bit insane. But what I've realized is that it's not the problems that are changing. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be stuff to work through. And it's not even necessarily the circumstances or it's not necessarily the external reality that could be changing, but the way that you approach things changes. When you go through the same issue over and over again, gradually, your perspective changes and you gain a little bit more insight every single time. And just over time, little by little, you change as a person. You change the way that you view these issues. And that is like, because day to day, it feels like you're just waking up, I'm the same person again today. Gah. And I think it's like, when parents watch their kids grow up, is it's like, you don't see the minuscule, like, microscopic details because you're looking at the same person every day. You're not going to see every change. But, you know, if you were to compare yourself to yourself 2 years ago, it'd be like, whoa, who the heck is that? Just like if you don't see, like, a relative, if you don't see someone for, like, 5 years, you see them and then it's like, dude, whoa, like, you've changed a lot, but they're just like, really? They're just like, really? Because they look at themselves every day. They live as themselves every day. You live as yourself every day. All the growth that you're doing, that is definitely happening, by the way. It does not feel as astronomical to you because you're up in here making these changes all the time. So give yourself a little more credit. Because I know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Girl, you're not doing the same thing over and over again. Every time you approach it differently, you look at it differently, you know that saying that's like, change the way you look at things and what you look at changes. That's what you're doing. So, yeah, even if it feels like you're ripping open your own wounds and you're having to sew them back up, you're sewing them back up, girl. And each time you get better at sewing. Like, that's the truth. And if you can't seem to let go of something, you can't seem to, like, heal from something, you're getting better at dealing with it. Every time. I swear. And each new pain is, you learn more about yourself each time you experience new pain. And I know that sucks that you have to go through pain, but pain is evolution. So, yeah, I'm dealing with things in this healthy way that I never thought I would be able to, really. Because when you first start facing a problem or getting to a phase of your life, like growing up even, just in general, is just like scary and crazy. But then you like low-key like get a little good at it. Like, you low-key get a little good at knowing yourself and navigating conflicts. And if you do it enough times, like, it doesn't feel as bad. And you kind of start to get to know yourself and what you need to do for certain issues. So you're changing. Whether or not it feels like it, you're changing. And so, all of this to say, keep a journal. Whether it's a video journal or you're writing it down or you're putting it in your phone, document your changes. Because the only constant is change. And you can use that as a reason to see things negatively and attach to everything in your life. Like, oh my god, I'm not going to have it anymore. But it's beautiful. You should use it as a reason to be grateful for everything that you have right now. Because the circumstances and even your problems, everything you're experiencing is never going to align in this specific way again. You're never going to be in this specific moment again. And don't use that as a reason to be sad. Use that as a reason to appreciate it. Because it's beautifully combined. It's like a really delicious salad. And you should absolutely take advantage of it. It's funny because you can know the outcome of something. You can know what the outcome's probably going to be. And I find that a lot when I'm watching these video journals of mine, is that like, I'm like, oh, so I did know this was going to happen, and I still did it. Am I dumb? But something I've realized also about studying all these ancient wisdom concepts is the same ancient wisdom has been passed down for 2,000 years, and usually it just comes back down to, like, following your heart and experiencing the duality of life and just trying to center in your values as much as possible, and be kind. But there's so many different cliches out there, or things that people will tell you to do and don't do, and there's this common knowledge, and you can be like, yeah, I think I understand this. Like, I think I understand that I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't do this, and I should do this. But the lesson doesn't really hit until you learn it yourself. You can think that you know about something and know what to do and what not to do, and then you, like, grow up and live a little more, and then you go through the thing. And then it's like, oh, okay, I had to learn the hard way. Some things you just have to learn the hard way. And don't be mad at yourself for it. Because you are learning. Again, you are learning and you are growing. And even if you know the outcome, learning your lesson and having that individual human experience is something that you are entitled to. You are entitled to learning your own lessons. As long as you take accountability for your choices, and you're not just projecting the outcomes of every decision onto everyone else, as long as you understand that you control your actions, you can learn your own lesson as much as you want. As long as it's not, like, just, it's so hard sometimes not to call yourself dumb. It's so hard sometimes not to be like, ah, dude, I'm so dumb. Why did I do that? Like, oh my god. But like, again, like I've said a billion times, you're growing with each time that you fail and each time that you fumble as a human. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. If we weren't fumbling and stumbling around and having these imperfections, nothing would be fun. We wouldn't have art. We wouldn't have love. So let yourself stumble a bit, girl. But like, you know what I mean. Come on. So anyway, journaling. Yes. Nothing's ever gonna align in this exact way again, and that is a beautiful thing. You have to gentle parent yourself, basically, is what I'm saying. It's like, you gotta give yourself a little leeway, but you still gotta, like, love yourself, and you still gotta, like, know when it's time to hunker down and be like, okay, girl, enough fooling around, like, let's lock in. Yeah. You need to document it, because you're not gonna remember these moments. Even your problems, you're not gonna remember so much of this. You know, like, you'll remember eras of your life, but today, you're not gonna remember the details. You're not gonna remember, oh, you were stressed about being late to this one thing, and you had this for breakfast, and like, you talked to this person. But if you write that stuff down, when it fades from your memory, and one day you're able to look back at it, you're gonna be so happy. You're gonna be so happy that you kept that. You're gonna realize how fleeting time is, and you have a piece of your reflections to hold dear to you. Especially as you grow and just like become, if you're like a young adult, like as you become a person, but actually I think everyone's always growing, never mind, like what the heck. I don't think growth ever stops. I don't think growing up ever stops. I don't think there ever is a point where you're grown and you're done growing. No, and there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. You should always be growing, because you don't want to be bitter and stuck in your ways ever. So, no matter what age you are, actually, your reflections right now matter. So yeah, basically, this is all to say, appreciate exactly the way everything is aligned for you right now. It is beautiful, it is divine, and it's never gonna happen like this again. So whether or not you like it that much, like, girl, this is the only time it's gonna be like this. So appreciate it, accept it in your heart. If you have feelings about it, which I'm sure you do, do a little writing. Do a little writing. Film yourself talking about it. I promise you won't regret it. And one day you will have chronicles. You will have chronicles of a story that is beautifully unique and yours to tell. And it will give you all that much more pride and like gratefulness for yourself and the way that you've overcome your adversities and grown in life. So, thank you for watching my first YouTube video, guys. And I love you, and I wish you love and awesomeness. Okay, bye.